Life magazine. The year of killer weather. Why has nature gone mad? Sounds like 2015, doesn't it? I mean, that's the only time ever we've had crazy weather, ever, in the history of civilization, right? Let's see, September 1993. So, you know, it's a media outlet taking a story and making it out like it's the only time in history that something's ever happened, and ballyhooing it up, and then people have forgotten about what happened in 1992, what's happened since then, blah, blah, blah. It's all crazy, but this is how media confuses people, especially those guys that are on the weather reports. They don't know anything other than looking at a chart and stuff. So at any rate, Progressive Soup, welcome to Progressive Soup. We have with us, go ahead, Emily's in charge.
Okay. Oh, wait, can I just say one thing?
Go right ahead.
Okay. Isn't climate change normal, inevitable? I mean, didn't the dinosaurs die off because of climate change?
That's a good question.
Right,
That's a good question.
Well,
but
okay, so
it wasn't carbon dioxide that did them in, though.
Anyway, my name is Emily Volpentasta, and I'm co-host with David Stevenson of Progressive Soup. And today we have two special guests. To my right here, I have Michael Zacchea, Lieutenant Colonel, Marine Corps, retired. And he's a retired Marine who fought in the Iraq and Somali wars. You're a veteran of the Iraq and Somali wars. You were on our show before. And then we also have Rich Frascone, host of Who's Telling the Truth, which focuses on renewable, sustainable energy. Is that the main focus of your show?
No, to make Fox News tell the truth.
Oh, okay.
Good luck with that.
That's the main focus.
Right. And great. So let's start with Michael Zacchea, Lieutenant Colonel Marine Corps. Now, I was speaking with you on the last show. We talked about your history, how you got into the Marines. It was a family. Men in your family were in the Marines, and then you joined. That would have been during the Iraq War, which was in the 90s, right?
The first Gulf War.
First Gulf War. And now you help veterans make their get into business.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Right. So I run a program that helps veterans, a 501c3 charitable organization that helps veterans start businesses. In the last 5 years, we've helped start 88 businesses, mostly in Connecticut, but some in New England and some what I call geographic outliers outside of the Northeast New England, Connecticut region.
And you're helping veterans start businesses. You're finding an alternative fuel industry to help Americans get off of?
Right. So a lot of opportunity in the alternative energy industry. And there are quite a few veterans who want to get into the alternative energy industry. There is a website called Vets Green Jobs, which is specifically for veterans who want to go to work in primarily solar energy installation, things like that. But the overarching theme for this generation of combat veterans is that the United States needs to wean itself off of fossil fuel and fossil fuel from the Middle East in order to preclude or prevent future oil wars. And so most veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan are much more interested in developing a national alternative energy industry and an alternative energy policy for national security purposes.
What do you think about, Rich, about veterans getting into businesses for alternative fuels?
I think my first question is, where would you say the lion's share of the work for the veterans is? Is it in solar? Is it in installing panels on rooftops? Is it, when you say that you help people get involved in new businesses, is there any one niche that you're starting to see that's really starting to develop that you would suggest that?
Yeah, so over the last couple of years, we've had one person in each of the last two classes who want to start what is called what they call an energy consultation business. So the idea is that they come into a place, whether it's a business, a residence, they're looking for big clients like UConn or one of those big corporate client, and they can do an energy audit and then make recommendations about how do you improve energy efficiency. And they sort of want to be more like general contractors, where they can bring together a solution for an energy solution for their clients.
So it's an energy audit primarily, that they would come in, evaluate how much energy you're using, do they do all the, does that include all the steps for insulation?
Yes.
So the whole thing, and so that's where you're saying the lion's share of the vets are?
The vets that I'm working with, yes, that's correct. I think that there's a lot of opportunity in doing the actual physical work of installing solar panels and fuel cells that can convert the solar energy into electricity, etc. I think that that's a wide open field for the next.
Have you done anything with like Green Skies? They employ a lot of people. In Connecticut, Chris Murphy's endorsed them, and on my show I've shown companies like Ross Solar. I'm sure Solar City has a lot. And I'm sure these vets, that the first thing they want to, that they're going to want to do is make a living wage, which is what solar will provide. You don't have to worry about anybody shooting at you while you're on a roof,
Right.
But I mean, I would think that it would seem to me that that's where. But you say most of it's in the house audits or the
right. But I'm helping people start businesses.
So not to work for other people, but to start their own businesses.
Correct.
Oh.
Okay.
Right.
What other businesses are they going into?
In general?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. About 25% of the business we've started are in the IT industry. It's some service provider, whether networking, coding, website design. What else? Cybersecurity. We've started 2 cybersecurity businesses. About 20% are contractors, people who want to contract either with the state or the federal government, whether it's doing construction or it's providing services or reselling to the state or federal government. And then a bunch of other dog businesses are trending. We've started 3 dog businesses. We've started, a couple of people have started gun or pistol ranges. We have one person who started two, they started together, but a unmanned aerial vehicle business.
Oh, drones?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
A lot of municipal and state agency applications for unmanned aerial vehicles. That's another industry that's going to grow gigantically, and another place where you can put solar panels to power the vehicles. Some of the vets have gone into flying drones for like the state of Connecticut? Actually, the state of New Hampshire. They're from New Hampshire, but yes.
Wow. See, now we're, because I'll tell you, some of that drone stuff, I watch it and I just go nuts.
A little scary.
Yeah, but I mean, I was, the one, it was a commercial for the product. Mm-hmm. And you saw the thing, and it flew through like a rock grotto, and it was gorgeous. And I'm going, wow, this is the stuff I always wanted to do. Yeah. And you don't have to worry about
to the point of solar energy, which you've done so many good shows about. There are apparently 174,000 people in this mushrooming solar energy business, the solar energy field nationwide. It's a field that's growing.
174,000 in solar.
174,000
solar
people in the solar industry. They may not all be installers. There may be, of course, support people.
Right.
But it's people that are involved in solar energy, adding solar energy to homes and businesses, and this creates really good paying jobs.
So this is very interesting. So one of the underlying economic bases for what we do is a guy, an economist out of Princeton, who runs a think tank called the Foundation on economic thought, and his name is Jeremy Rifkin. And he believes in what he calls the third industrial revolution, that the second industrial revolution was based on fossil fuel and mass production. He believes we're on the verge of a third industrial revolution where virtually everybody will become their own micro energy producers, primarily through solar. And he was the architect of Germany's conversion from a fossil fuel economy to, I think 75% of Germany's electricity production is now from solar energy.
And Germany being, of course, fairly consistent with Connecticut in terms of sunlight.
Yep.
We're pretty much on the same northern latitude as Germany. We pretty much get...
No, Germany's
further north?
Further north.
Okay, so even better.
Yep.
Even more...
Germany has such little sunlight. This is just statistic that'll just blow you away. There's only 2 parts of the United States that have as little sunshine as Germany.
Minnesota maybe, or Alaska?
No, Alaska is one of them, and the other part is the very tip of Washington State.
Oh,
those are
because of the climate is kind of...
The only 2 places where they get as much sunlight as Germany does.
So Germany is getting by with very little sunlight and still doing gangbusters with solar panels.
Right, because it was Germany came up with feed-in tariffs, where the people were given the opportunity to virtually pay for their own power and to own it. And if it didn't move, they put solar panels on it. And if it was moving, it was a wind turbine. And you're right. I mean, like 75%. There are some days in Germany. There was a Sunday recently where they went to negative. They were producing more energy than they could use.
This was Jeremy Rifkin wrote this on his blog. For the first time ever, Germany's entire electricity production for a single day was by solar energy. They produced more electricity than they needed for a single...
And overall it's 75%.
In the whole country?
Wow.
So no wonder they're going away from nuclear energy.
Yeah, they've closed down 1 nuclear plant. I think they only have 1 left. And Germany gets it.
Yep.
And it's real simple. I mean, we could do the same thing here, but what happens is it comes down, and I'm just going to be blatant and just come right out and say, comes out to the Conservative Party.
You're not known for it, but be blunt.
I mean, the Conservative Party, with the funding, with all the funding that they get from the Koch brothers and everybody else, and the money just flows. And if you watch my show...
Who's telling the truth?
If you watch my show, who's telling... Yeah, and we're on Monday night at 7 o'clock live, most times. And we're on Sunday at 10 o'clock. But guys, all we want to do is just provide you with the evidence for what's happening. And what's happening, we're being fleeced.
Yes.
And what people what they don't realize is how badly it's happening. And most of it's just propaganda. But it's the type of propaganda that you would never even think it's propaganda.
Very subtle.
It's so subtle. But it's continuous, and it's over and over again. And Fox News perpetuates it.
Like what, for example?
We're talking about the hockey stick, which our good friend Marty Heiser, who also has a show, the Marty Heiser Show, loves to tell a story about the hockey stick, where you had this...
the medieval warming period.
Oh, yeah, the medieval
and
warming
the Little
period.
Ice Age.
And the Little Ice Age and this other stuff, which in fact is a load of crap. And how the shaft of the hockey stick shows a gradual but very definitive warming trend in the world. But they have this little blurb at the beginning because they weren't able to calculate things as well. They didn't have the technology. And this little hook at the beginning of it, and Marty uses that as a reference point as to why the gradual warming since then doesn't make sense to him.
You know, very interesting, and I think probably everybody watching the show will have experienced that what was Connecticut Light and Power is now Eversource, just
Right.
raised the rate on electricity production by 25%. You know, for no reason at all, really. The CEO of Eversource, and I forget his name off the top of my head, but he makes $1 million a month, and he's going to make. Last year, he made $80 million, $1 million in compensation, and the rest was in options and benefits. And he's going to increase that this year because he just delivered a 25% price increase that was signed off by the Public Utilities Commission and signed off by Governor Malloy. And you're absolutely right. We're being fleeced by Eversource, by Northeast Utilities.
That leads me really quickly. That leads me to something that I have been reading on recently. It was an article in 2 or 3 periodicals about that exact thing. What states have done, because you have the power structure in a state is centered around the governor. And right now you have, I think, 30 of the 50 states have Republican governors, including Scott Walker in Wisconsin, who is one we like to talk about in a very negative way because we feel we're obligated to do that. But a lot of states, what they do is they have gone around the voting mechanism. And it's not elected officials that are making these decisions. It's the State Public Utilities Commission, which answers to no one except people that might be giving them a little cha-ching for making their decisions.
Can I just jump in for a second?
Right ahead.
Because this is, and I raise this issue on my show all the time. What we have to do is we have to get the grid to the point where the power companies, the electric companies, make more money by selling less electricity. They make their money by managing the grid. And you'll say, Rich, wait a minute, that sounds counterintuitive.
Right.
How could they make more money by saving money? Very simple. Let's say you own Google.
Okay.
And you're going to use massive amounts of power. So you go out and you put up a solar field. And you're generating all that electricity. But you've got to get that electricity back to your plant where you can use it. Well, you're not in the transportation of electricity business. You do Google.
Yeah, that's the job of the electricity business.
So let's say Google was paying $100 million a year for electricity.
Okay.
They invested in solar panels, and now it only costs them $50 million a year to make the same amount of electricity. They've got $50 million that they're not spending anymore that they can share with the power company. Hey, we're saving this amount of money, but we need you to transport the electricity. So therefore, by you doing a good job for us, we will share our profits. And it's a form of socialism. And when people say, Rich, we're not a socialist country, guys, we're a socialist country. And if anybody wants to question it, just look how good Social Security works.
Sure. I would have thought we were an anti-socialist country.
Well, you know, there's one part to this, and that's the electricity market. So electricity is a commodity that's traded on the markets, and that is what Enron engineered the rolling blackouts in the early 2000s because it cornered the electricity market in the state. And part of it is that this is all cannibalized by state. So that's why Connecticut has the second highest electric rates in the country. And I've never found out, I've never gotten an adequate reason for why our electricity is so expensive in this state. But to your point about socialism, so people talk about free markets, but the commodity markets are not free markets. They are highly, and should be highly regulated. So I believe that the price of electricity that we're paying, which is on the open commodities market, is actually gigantically jacked up. It doesn't cost that much money to produce the electricity that we're using.
Yeah, but the money's going the wrong way. The profits are going the wrong they're going to the shareholders when the profit should be going back to the people.
That's the capitalism system, is to maximize shareholder value at the expense of the consumer.
Right. But when it comes to solar, and I tell you, because I watch Fox religiously, and what does Fox always talk about? The free market. How everybody is entitled to take advantage of the free market, except when that free market goes against the fossil fuel industry. Then it's bad. But what I tell people, especially on the show, is, I'll say, put solar panels on your roof and a Tesla in your garage, and you could tell the Koch brothers to kiss your ass.
Well, in Connecticut, the Car Dealers Association is trying to keep Tesla out of Connecticut.
Oh, yeah.
Because what the real deal is that these people who have the means of production, who own their toll gates, they own the car market, they try to protect their cash revenue, their income revenue. And they don't want people taking a slice of that. So that's why they don't want people getting solar and they don't want people getting Teslas. Well, they want to protect their cash.
One of the big things with the car market, why they're trying to keep the distributorships out, is because the cars need so much maintenance and stuff.
There's cars that they sell, the gas guzzler cars.
Yeah, when so they want that cash cow where you got to keep now with a Tesla. There's so little to service.
Wow.
There's one motor, and that's it.
And that makes,
you know what I mean?
That makes sense.
And they spared no expense. Tesla's been rated from car and driver, road and track in 2013. Everybody 2014. Sorry, everybody that could name the car of the year.
Wow.
And then it was funny, on the way in, I was listening to Hate Radio, because I won't call it talk, it's Hate Radio, and they had this guy, Todd Schnitt, and he's talking about this muscle car, this Detroit muscle car, and I forget what it is, but it's got 700 horsepower, and everybody's fighting over it, and they're charging a premium for the car and everything.
Maserati, bada bing, bada boom, mobile or something like that.
Well, Uncle Joe, believe it or not, Uncle Joe actually sent me a video of this muscle car going against a Tesla Model D.
Oh, I'd heard about that, the Tesla.
It wasn't even close. The Tesla Model D, it's a dual motor Tesla, goes 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. It's as fast as the McLaren F1.
Wow.
And Elon Musk designed it so it would be, because that's the idol. So he made it that fast. And I'm listening to this guy on the radio here, and I'm saying, you want a muscle car? Get yourself a Tesla.
Right,
Get rid of
exactly.
these gas guzzlers.
Now it's a Croatian engineer who created the Tesla. Or what?
Elon Musk.
Tesla was a Croatian, I believe. The Tesla, the scientist.
Right, Nikola Tesla.
Nikolai Tesla.
Okay, but the car isn't Croatian, or what was?
Elon Musk used the name Tesla.
Okay.
Nikolai's Tesla's name.
Okay.
For the name Tesla.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, the Model X should be coming out, I think, in June.
Oh, wow.
And that's going to be the SUV.
Huh.
Oh, and once people see this, they're going to,
Now, they're coming down in price. I mean, they're made in limited numbers, and of course, with mass production, the price of each individual car comes down. So we're heading in the direction where they'll be more affordable. They won't be a luxury pretty soon. They'll be less expensive, for instance, than a Mercedes.
Well, when they get the next model, which will be coming out, I think, in 2017.
Wow.
That's going to be not the economy model,
right?
but the average person where it's going to be like $30,000 range.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not going to have.
Right.
Especially if you don't have to pay for gas ever.
Well,
Right. Yeah.
and you know, and that's one of the things, and a lot of people don't understand that with the Tesla.
Right.
You know, once you buy a Tesla, you never buy another
Right.
ounce of gas.
Wow.
You know, you can recharge them all over the place because.
Now, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's funny. One
We've
time
got them in
over on.
Connecticut. We've got charging stations,
Yeah.
a bunch of them along
It's true.
84.
The
Well,
train
yeah.
station.
If you watched my show,
Yeah.
I'd show you where
There's
they
one
are.
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
in the Patriot Garage in
Yeah.
Danbury. There's a free charging station.
In
For Tesla?
Bethel
For
too.
electric cars. There's a free
Yeah,
charging station.
Charging stations in
And
Bethel.
this is how we're spending
Yeah.
some tax dollars to promote
Yeah.
these cars and promote alternative
See,
energy.
this is the big bottleneck, is the infrastructure that would support electric cars, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things that, and you know, again, you're talking about
Gotcha.
Right.
charging stations that are connected to solar, and you have a fuel cell converter, and you can,
Yeah.
and fuel cell, that's right here in Danbury. I mean, you know, Connecticut has the
Yeah.
ability to become the major center for production of fuel cells in the country.
Yeah, it's true.
Are the fuel cells? I mean, I don't
Right.
hear much about them, and
I think we should start.
you know.
We're going to continue this discussion in our next episode.
We're actually going to keep on going. We've got another
Yeah.
minute or so,
Oh, okay.
and then we'll do
Yes.
another show.
Well, my
We got
understanding is
to take a break and have some
Right.
soup.
solar energy
Yes.
has to be converted
Thank
to
you. Thanks
And
for
then-
joining
and then
us.
discussion.
That's right.
Not quite yet.
And when there's no sun, and you know, you store the energy in a fuel cell
credit.
so that you can keep driving when you know the sun is not shining. That's what the role of fuel cell is, like the AC/DC converter.
Oh, it stores the energy so that
Yeah.
when you're not, so at nighttime, you
Right.
have that energy stored
Right.
to use.
Yes.
So you can do stuff with electricity created by solar energy
Right.
when the sun's not out.
Right.
Okay.
So are we going to? Are we going through the full hour, or are we breaking? We're not.
We're
gonna break in about
breaking.
30 seconds. But we have to eat. I mean, we've got to.
Right.
The waiter's got to bring us our soup.
Yeah, to come back,
Another
we're going to
one thing we gotta look
continue.
into?
We're going to continue this discussion in our next episode.
So you guys in the audience
Right.
can go back to having your soup too, and whatever you're eating. And,
All right.
And I know you're snooping on us because I see
That's right.
you watching us from all these other tables in the cafe.
Yeah, so
but we're
thanks.
going to come back.
That's right, and
So we're
continue.
going to come back. We're just going to let it play itself out to the graphics on the screen, which are coming up.